Hello and welcome to Everyday Tarot, your daily dive into the divine wisdom of the tarot. I'm your host, Camille A. Saunders, healer, intuitive tarot reader, and professional witch, and today I'm talking about the color blue in color magic. Whether you're a seasoned tarot reader or just starting to explore, this podcast offers daily insights, intuitive messages, and practical advice drawn from the cards. Each episode is designed to help you connect with your inner wisdom, find clarity in your decisions, and tap into the energy of the universe. Tune in every day, Monday through Friday, for fresh perspectives and empowering guidance from the tarot as interpreted by me. If you love the show, the best way to support it for free is by listening daily, leaving a review, and subscribing or following in your favorite podcast app. If you love the podcast and want to support it further, I have some other options for you. So you can join the Everyday Tarot Patreon family, where some benefits include getting individual cards pulled for you once a month on the podcast, getting an individual 5-card reading done, and being in the Everyday Tarot Patreon community. I recently recorded an hour-long video episode for the new moon that we welcomed in on October 21st, 2025. If you missed the live, you can check out the new moon collective tarot reading replay. And I'm looking at my calendar right now to see, I think today I will, as this comes out, I will be doing another new moon reading. I'm checking the new moon time. November. I think it's today. November 19th, technically the evening of November 19th at 10:47 p.m. Pacific time, or November 20th at 1:46 a.m. Eastern. So I'm in Pacific time. So for me, it will be on the 19th. But I will probably record it on the 20th at, probably around 3:30 p.m. Pacific time on the 20th. So you can check out my YouTube channel, Camille A. Saunders, at youtube.com, if you want to check out the official timing there for the latest new moon, but the October one's definitely there, and so are all the other ones I've done. So I do them live, and then I upload them, or they stay on the YouTube channel, so you can go through and watch a whole playlist of all the new moons that I've done in the last couple months. As a bonus for the Queer Joy Summit that wrapped up in October, I created a Queer Coven Spooky Tarot spread. I wanted to give you all a chance to grab it. So if you are looking for a spooky tarot spread still, I'm still in spooky season, probably until like solstice. It's Halloween and queer themed 6-card spread. I'll have the link in the show notes for you to grab that now. I was recently on Kayla Moore's Connected Pleasure podcast, so if you want to check me out there, my episode is entitled Living by the Body, Dreaming of Land, and Weaving the Future. If you want to hear more about Kayla and her offers, you can go to connectedpleasurecoaching.com. You can, of course, check out other episodes of the Connected Pleasure podcast, and stay tuned because at the end of December, I'm going to be posting my entire guests season of guests that have been on the podcast, and you'll get to hear Kayla's episode there as well. So you'll get to hear about them and their work with tarot and oracle, their witchiness, and all that kind of thing. So on that note, I am still looking for more guests to be on my podcast. So if you're interested or know someone that might be a good fit, you can fill out my form to be a guest on the podcast. And if there's someone you know, or a tarot reader or something that you would love to hear from, you can send me their contact info or whatever you have, their name, and I'll do my best to reach out to them to get them on the podcast. So you can send that to me@CamilleASaunders.com if there's someone that you would love to hear more about their journey with tarot. If you want to work with me more directly, and perhaps you don't live local to me, I'll be kicking off my Tarot for Transformation monthly workshops starting in 2026, where we'll be deep diving into the major arcana to discover our best selves and create a life worth living. So if you're interested, I'll have the link in the show notes to sign up, and I'll just be sending you more information. No commitment at this stage, but you'll just start getting updates about once I finalize more details for it. But I'm very excited for it. we'll be deep diving one major arcana card per month. You'll get a 2 to 3 hour workshop live with me, or you can watch the recording if you're unable to attend live. I'll be creating workbooks for each card, like journaling questions. We'll think about different ways to embody the archetype of the major arcana cards, and just all sorts of ways to incorporate it into our life. So this season, of course, we're talking about color magic, which is another way to sort of incorporate magic into your daily life. So if you want to do more with the major arcana and be able to incorporate tarot into your regular life, check that out. If you don't already know, I'm a sex and relationships therapist and coach, seeing individual and relational clients virtually all over from my home office. So if you want to work with me one-on-one, I love working with queer, polyamorous, and witchy clients. If you want to work with someone that doesn't judge you, is witchy just like you, and helps you learn how to deal with anxiety, chronic pain or illness, communication issues, self-advocacy, and sex, head to my website and book a free consultation now to start your journey. You can check that out at CamilleASaunders.com. Maybe you've heard me talk about crafting your own tarot cards, and you're like, that sounds cool, but I do not have the art skills for that. So no worries, you can learn how to create your own tarot cards with collage. So I recorded a full workshop where I led folks through this virtually, and I recorded it, so you'll get the full workshop with the hour-long recording where I'm going through the step-by-step method, examples of the cards I've created. I think 20 plus examples. I have over 30 cards created now. But I share some examples in there. You'll get some journaling questions to help you brainstorm, how do you want to think about the cards? Would you want to start with images first, or do you want to start with the card you want to make and then look for specific images? And then if all else fails, there's a PDF to walk you all through it for just $33. So click on the link in the show notes to grab that now. I think it would be a great thing to check out for winter time when we're inside a bit more. The supplies, I'll send you the supplies list as well. Super simple index cards, stuff from the dollar store, any crafty materials you already have, and then whatever you want to add to your sort of collage material, what's the right word? Stash. So I have a lot of stuff. I have some books and magazines and stuff, and I've been leading the workshops in person before over the last year. So of course I come with all the materials, but if you aren't local to me and you want to be able to do this in your own time and use your own materials, this is a great way to do so. If you're interested in grabbing another one of my tarot spreads that I've made, so the 2025 5-card tarot spread I created just for you, my lovely listeners, at the beginning of the year, you can get that by joining my newsletter list. You'll get that PDF for free, and my weekly newsletter always has the most up-to-date info on upcoming events, presentations, musings, and info and photos of my day-to-day life. I got ducks recently, so there are many a duck photo now in my newsletters. If you're local and you want to meet me in person, you can check out my Let's Talk Tarot meetup group. Our next event will be celebrating the full moon. I'm holding full moon women's circles for the rest of 2025, so you can join my colleague Izzy and I under the glow of the full moon for an evening of connection, reflection, and ritual. We meet at Thresholds Collective in Tacoma the first Sunday of the month to welcome in the full moon together, and our next date is on December 7th. So coming up soon. Grab your tickets now. We would love to see you there. And we will be doing something for the new year, so stay tuned on that. I'll put it on the podcast once I have all the ticketing information settled, but you can always join the newsletter list if you want to make sure you get the info on that. And then you can find any of the links for the offers in the show notes or on my website, CamilleASaunders.com/everydaytarot, in addition to the images of the cards I pull on each episode. All right, welcome to season 18, where I'm talking all about color magic, and today I'm talking about the color blue. So let's head to Wikipedia to talk about the color blue. So blue is one of 3 primary colors in the red, green, blue color model, or the red, yellow, blue color model. So one of them is more specific to light. Of course, the one most of us learned as kids was red, yellow, blue. Blue lies between violet and cyan on the spectrum of visible light. Again, think the rainbow colors that you've learned. and where blue falls in there. The term blue generally describes colors perceived by humans observing light with a dominant wavelength between approximately 450 and 495 nanometers. The clear daytime sky and the deep sea appear blue because of an optical effect known as Rayleigh scattering. An optical effect called the Tyndall effect actually explains blue eyes, and distant objects appear more blue because of another optical effect called aerial perspective. So blue has been an important color in art and decoration since ancient times. The semi-precious stone lapis lazuli was used in ancient Egypt for jewelry and ornamentation, and later in the Renaissance to make the pigment ultramarine the most expensive of all the pigments at the time. In the 8th century, Chinese artists used cobalt blue to color fine blue and white porcelain, the sort of classic like porcelain plates and vases that you often see. And in the Middle Ages, European artists used it in windows of cathedrals. What else here? It's interesting because blue is sort of common, right, in nature, because we think of it with the water and the sky, but actually when we think about like birds, animals, flowers, plants, there are not a lot of blue occurring naturally in that way. So I'm going to talk about some of the tarot decks I talk about, and one of them I'm going to talk about the Herb Crafter's deck, which has plants. So we will talk about some blue plants, but again, it's hard to find like natural blue dyes. There's indigo, and there used to be a vegetable dye called woad, or there still is, but it was replaced by indigo later on in Americas. And because blue has been associated commonly with harmony, it's chosen as the color of many flags, like of the United Nations and the European Union, and just across the world. It says, in the US and Europe, blue is a color that both men and women are most likely to choose as their favorite. Also across the world, including China, Malaysia, and Indonesia. And again, surveys that have been done in the US and Europe have found that blue is the color most commonly associated with harmony, confidence, masculinity, knowledge, intelligence, calmness, distance, infinity, the imagination, cold, and sadness. So it really runs the gamut there, right? We have harmony, we have sadness, we have masculinity, we have calmness, distance, infinity. Very interesting. I assume the infinity part is sort of because of the way that we see it in bodies of water and the sky, but that's just sort of my own assumptions there. All right, so let's get into the color magic of blue. So blue is associated with the throat chakra. I'm pulling this info from forum.spells8.com about color magic. So blue is our voice, our integrity, our truth. It represents our ability to communicate and our willingness to articulate our desires, intentions, and needs. Blue is peace, the deep exhale that releases oxygen from our bodies. It aligns and balances us. It's very interesting. So perhaps those aspects of harmony that we talked about are sort of, because of some of these associations we have with it. On rachelpatterson.co.uk, talking about color magic, they say that blue is associated. So in here they differentiate dark blue and light blue. So I'll read all of them. Because I'm just talking about blue generally, but we have associated with the goddess, the water element, truth, dreams, protection, change, meditation, and healing. Those are for dark blue. And then light blue, more of the psychic awareness, intuition, opportunity, understanding, safe journey, patience, tranquility, warding off depression, healing, and health. So again, kind of a wide spectrum of things. And then in my days of the week correspondence that I have up in my closet that I've been sharing with you all, and part of the reason I'm doing it today is it's Thursday, which is the day associated with blue, with the planet Jupiter and the god Thor. So it's associated with magic dealing with dedication, endurance, faithfulness, legal matters, loyalty, luck, and money matters. So again, Thursday is Thor's day. in English, and other languages speak more to the Jupiter association. Like in Spanish, it's jueves. So I think of like Jupiter association with that a bit more. All right. So yeah, there are a lot of, I would say, blue colors associated across many tarot decks, again with red, blue, and yellow being sort of like the primary colors. Right, all of those colors get used a lot, especially in tarot, since this is a visual medium. So yeah, let's get into some of the cards that I pulled. So I pulled cards from the Herb Crafters Tarot deck and the Saucer Bito Tarot deck by Stacia Burrington. The Herb Crafter deck is by Letitia Guthrie, and artwork by Joanna Powell Colbert, written by Letitia Guthrie. So I really love this herb crafting deck. So let's start there because I was talking about sort of blue in nature. So here we have 3 different plants that are all represented with blue as part of their aspect. So we have borage, which, unless you're a gardener, I would sort of say you've probably never heard of it. They have these beautiful blue 5-petaled flowers. Borage is in the comfrey family, which also comfrey has sort of like purpley blue flowers. But yeah, not a lot of blue flowers in the world. There are some, I would say, like, yeah, a couple. So other ones, cards I talk about here are elder. So elderberries, right, also have the blue. They're definitely more of like a dark blue, black color. And then we have chicory, which also has the sort of a bit of a mix between blue and purple colors. And honestly, so does borage. I've grown it a lot in my garden. It reseeds itself very freely. I love the plant. It's one of my favorite plants to grow, honestly. My chickens love to eat it. It is in the comfrey family. It is a little like prickly. It doesn't have thorns, but it kind of, like if you've ever handled like a squash, like a summer squash, like zucchini or something, those plants, if you go to like pick it, you know, they kind of have like hairs on them that's like irritates our skin a bit. So borage is similar. So it has a green plant with these beautiful blue flowers. And again, as they get picked or as they fade, they sort of fade to like a purpley pink, even as they, you may have eaten them in like a fancy salad before because they are an edible flower. They actually taste like cucumber, which is very interesting. Sometimes they get frozen into ice cubes, again, in sort of like botanical drinks. But yeah, you may have seen them in that space. Otherwise, unless you're gardening, probably not. They have these sort of, yeah, bees really like the flowers. That's part of why I brought it into my garden. And I just think they're really beautiful. And like I said, my chickens love to eat the plants. So whenever I have extra plants, I'm like, great, here you go, guys. Here's some snacks. I have frozen them into ice cubes. It's sort of like a fun thing to do. I like to just like, again, you can put them in a salad or something. But yeah, so here we have borage, which is associated with the 6 of water, which sort of makes sense to me because in my mind, borage is sort of a like mucilage plant, like can be sort of, I don't know, yeah, like has like a mucusy, if you were to cook it, or like if it gets frosted, it sort of mushes in that way. It's kind of stringy. If you've ever messed with or picked like comfrey leaves or that plant, you can tell they're in the same family because they are sort of like, if you'll go to like pull a leaf off, and it will sort of like, part of it will come off and then it'll have these strings attached still. But yeah, I think it's a really cool plant. I was gonna grab the herb crafting book, but so of course this is 6 of water, so that would be like 6 of cups. Here we have a bit of like celebration. They're on a table, flower bouquets. They have them in like some wine or juice, and we actually see a beautiful blue like lake or ocean or some body of water in the background. So again, very much associated with this wateriness, this emotion aspect. For elder, so elderberries, right? If you know elder has elderflower, which is a white flower generally, and then of course if you let it flower and then turn into fruit, you'll get elderberries. And elderberries are often used as made into a syrup, as sort of an immunity boost. It gets turned into sort of almost like a cough syrup kind of consistency, very sweetened. And elder itself, so this is associated with the 4 of fire, which would be like the 4 of wands. And elder is interesting because, yeah, it has this sort of like calming immunity boost aspect, although I guess immunity boosting might be more of the fiery element here. And we actually get a lot of like red and yellow other things on this card. So we have the elderberries on the table, and then we see all these kind of like glass potion looking bottles, and then we see like red string and yellow flowers and some green leaves in the background. So elders do have green leaves, which is kind of interesting there. I feel like we get sort of like a divine presence. There's like a pillow in the background that has like a Virgin Mary or like Guadalupe like image on it. It's hard to see, it's in the background there, but we get this sort of like herb crafting element. We see like a fire burning, of course, to go with the fire element of the 4 of fire. And elderberries or elder plants are often planted on the edges of things. They can be planted sort of like a hedge. They're sort of like a bush or like a shrub tree. So they are seen as sort of a protection energy for like your yard or wherever they're located. So I feel like that also has some of that fiery element to it of like stay out, like they're very much on the edges of things. And then last we have chicory here, which again has sort of like a a blue-ish purple flower. Chicory actually looks very similar to like flax, if you know flax. So flax seed would be like the thing that you might know it of, but wait. Oh, never mind. I was like, they're the same plant, but no, I don't think so. Yeah, so chicory is like a perennial herb. It has edible leaves and then these like blue flowers, and then it has a taproot, which often gets used. That's really the thing that gets used. It's like chicory root. But yeah, it's this sort of woody perennial plant. It looks sort of like a daisy. It's in the Asteraceae family, which daisies are. So it has many petals, sort of like a clump in the middle of almost like how a sunflower does, where it has the middle part and then the petals, much smaller though. And often they can be seen in like fields, again, sort of like flax. They can handle sort of, what's the right word, like barren areas. But yeah, chicory's been used for both culinary and medicinal properties. So there are chicory leaves. You can use the roots as a coffee equivalent. If you've ever been to New Orleans and had the famous Café du Monde coffee, that they're the place that has the beignets, the powdery donut things. Café du Monde, their coffee has chicory in it. So if you enjoy that flavor, that's chicory that's in the background there, because a lot of roots on plants can be sort of roasted. Same with dandelion roots, actually roasted to have a sort of coffee-ish flavor to it. So that's how chicory is as well. So you may have had chicory if you've had that kind of coffee. It's very famous. You can buy it as well, so you may have had it before, but yeah, so chicory is associated with the 2 of air, which would be like the 2 of swords here. I'm trying to think about that association. I just think with the color blue, again, right, we had the sort of like intelligence, knowledge aspect of it. I feel like, right, swords being the air sign also kind of go along with that. And again, like chicory is very versatile in that way, right? You can kind of eat all the parts of the plant and they do different things. So that's part of what I think of there. And then if we look at the Sacerdote Tarot deck, I'm trying to see if there's any crossover here. So I pulled the Three of Pentacles, which on this one has a very like superhero image. It's like three pentacles that almost look like they are like, this looks like a Marvel movie to me. So you have the three pentacles, they sort of have these like aspects behind them, like a shooting star almost, and they're in like a pyramid. And then we see three hands reaching out to three of the pentacles. So it's sort of this like collaboration, working together, serenity, kind of with the blueness. I also pulled the High Priestess from this deck. She's wearing a long like blue dress or cloak, and she actually has her feet in blue water. Like you can see her toes in the water. Right? And the High Priestess is very much associated with the more like intuition, calmness, intelligence, maybe harmony side of things, imagination, sort of some of those aspects we talked about. And perhaps also the sort of like truth, integrity, voicing desire that talked about with the throat chakra. So she's very much a part of that. And then the Knight of Cups is the last one that's depicted here from the Sacerdote Tarot deck. Again, we actually get this sort of like intelligence, knowledge, even masculinity aspect where there's a person, they're actually holding a coffee. So that's kind of funny, or like a hot drink, I guess. It looks dark. So it could be coffee or tea, but it actually makes me think of the chicory aspect here. And they actually are holding like a blue book, and then they have their eyes closed, like they look very serene and calm. And then we see this sort of like steam coming out of the mug that's sort of going all around them and in the background. And even the like person themselves, they're very like a light blue color, almost like there's like a blue lens on this whole card, right? And again, cups are the sort of emotion card, right, associated with water sign. And we also have, so similar to the borage, right, the water sign there. And then we also have, again, this like serene, harmony looking person, but also intelligence and the sort of like, I don't know, warmth of it. The Knight's cards are often about this sort of going out and doing things of action, but it's almost like the action with this card is like, you are almost like choosing calmness. Your action is actually like serenity, or your action is, right, like sitting in something for a bit, like letting your, being calm about it, having the imagination component and some of that like perhaps confidence too, and knowledge and like intelligence, intuition part. So those are kind of the cards that I saw with blue across some of my decks here. So let's go ahead and pull a card about how can we work with the color blue today. And I'm going to pull from a deck that has a lot of blue in it that I sort of saved for this. This is the Anima Mundi Tarot deck. So the main colors on it are actually like blue and black and brown. So I thought that if I tried to pull blue cards from this, it would be like all of them. So we'll see if we get a blue card, but how can we work with the color blue today on Thursday or Thursday as you listen to this? Let's see here. Okay. Oh, I pulled the Fool in reverse. So the Fool upright here depicts like a fox standing on its back legs, and actually the background in this card is sort of a bluish white sky. I'm gonna go ahead and look in the book to see what they say about the reversal for this. So of course the Fool generally, okay, it's a red fox, beginning of journeys, right, a new path. But today, right, reverse, it says recklessness, naivete, disregard for consequences. So how can we work with the color blue today, right? It's perhaps thinking about what kind of risks we're taking, perhaps looking at things as we're not looking long term, right? Again, if the Fool is the beginning of the journey, right? Sometimes we can come out the gates, you know, really going for sprinting, and then we don't actually make it very far, right? So, right, the aspect of following your heart or having faith in the universe, like that is still there, but perhaps we're again kind of blazing forward a bit too quickly. being a bit too reckless or disregarding the consequences of our actions. So right, perhaps today it's taking stock of what you've been up to, maybe slowing down a bit, maybe taking a bit more of the beginner's mind of things, knowing that you're right at the beginning of a journey and that you're still learning, and that we shouldn't go out and make all these decisions quite yet, that we should, kind of allow ourselves to make our way through the major arcana before we get a ton of like confidence or risk taking involved. It's like there's the risk taking of not knowing what's going to happen, or the unexpected with the Fool, but there's also, right, we have to make sure we're not disregarding the potential consequences. All right. So if you'd like to join me on the journey of using the tarot for transformation, click on the link in the show notes to indicate your interest to get more info. That will be starting up in 2026. Links for the tarot decks I talk about will always be in the show notes and on my website if you'd like to look at them or purchase them. And today, like I said, I pulled a card from the Anima Mundi Tarot deck by Megan Weirer-Wenden. So thanks for joining me today on Everyday Tarot. Just as a reminder, the podcast will come out daily, Monday through Friday, for all of 2025. Email me, me@CamilleASaunders.com with your thoughts, questions, and more. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye.